Justin Sanders ends Kyle Larson's win streak under a shower of booze while Corey Day stirs the pot. Tim McCreadie has been driving a new Rocket chassis version, but is it really better? Plus racing ahead this weekend and a lot more. Let's go. It's Thursday, August 22nd. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is Dirt Tracker Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. A quick thanks from me to you off the top today. We crossed over 34,000 YouTube subscribers this week. That's very cool, so thank you for that. Still trying to get to 40K before 2024 is over, so if you don't already subscribe, hit that button. It's free and it helps make sure you don't miss any future episodes. You can also get full episodes of the Daily on Facebook every single day and your favorite podcast places. Flow Racing Night in America Series debuting at Lernerville Speedway last night, and yet another strong performance from Bobby Pierce. He started 7th, took the lead from Tyler Erb just past halfway, and pulled away to a 5-second victory. Win number 29 on the season, and he now leads the Flow Series Championship by 9 points over Ricky Thornton Jr. Erb ended up 2nd last night with Dalton Wilson 3rd. RTJ was the points leader entering the night, but slipped to 2nd after finishing in 6th. The Flow Series is back in 2 weeks when the Eldora Show gets made up on September 4th. That will lead into the World 100 weekend. Looking a little further down the order on Wednesday, I was surprised to see Tim McCreadie not run particularly well. He finished 14th, got lapped by Pierce. I'd been looking this week at some numbers around McCreadie's recent performances, especially given the recent swap over to a new version of the Rocket XR1 chassis. Rocket Racing debuted the updated piece at Davenport Speedway back in July against the XR Super Series, and it's taken them some time to find their footing with it. They're calling it the XR 1.2, and last Saturday night's win in the Topless 100 was definitely a big moment for them. Kyle McFadden did a really big article, lots of quotes, all sorts of things at Dirt on Dirt about the evolution of this Rocket chassis and Mark Richards trying to get Tim McCreadie more comfortable. If you haven't read it, I definitely check it out. Some really good nuggets in there, including the notion that Scott Bloomquist was interested in getting one of the new cars from Rocket and doing some testing for Richards. That was before his death. Lernerville, though, has been a strong track for T-Mac in the past, and coming off that win, I thought they'd be right in the mix. That didn't really come to fruition. Looking at the numbers, there doesn't appear to be any real marked improvement with the new car versus the old, at least in terms of average finish. McCreadie started with Rocket at Atomic in March, and in 26 races had an average finish of 7.27, obviously no wins. Since the change, they did win the Topless 100, and in the first 12 races, their average finish with the new car was 7.25, so just a very tiny improvement, 7.27 to 7.25. But when you add in last night's 14th place run, the average finish drops to 7.77 over 13 races. We still obviously only have a very small sample size, and it's clear they're still ironing things out, but no magic bullet here with the 1.2. Headed to Port Royal Friday and Saturday, this is another track where McCreadie has run well, including Lucas wins over the past few years. This team, though, was outside the top 10 at Port back in April. We'll see if they can improve upon that. Lucas has a full program on Friday for $10,000 to win, and then $50,000 is on the line on Saturday. Hudson O'Neill, the defending winner of this race a year ago, still RTJ, Devin Moran, Jonathan Davenport, and McCreadie in that Lucas top 4, with O'Neill now 60 points back. He was also not particularly strong last night, finishing behind McCreadie. He posted to Facebook today. They're actually sticking around Lernerville on Thursday to do some testing. Both Lucas nights will be live over on Flow Racing. While the Lucas regulars stay in Pennsylvania, the Outlaw teams are headed the other direction for 2 nights at Atomic Speedway in Ohio. $10,000 and $15,000 to win races, and we're still keeping a watchful eye on this championship battle. Brandon Shepard still in control, leading Nick Hoffman by 64 and Pierce by 76. The 32 team, though, starting to run out of races to close the gap. Both of those nights will be live over on Dirt Vision. At Silver Dollar Speedway last night, the Gold Cup Race of Champions Week got rolling with a full program for 360 sprint cars. Kyle Larson there in his only appearance this week, and 50 sprint cars signed in. That included a bunch of drivers we'll see over the next few days in 410 competition, but a lot of them were in different race cars. And one of those was Corey Day back in Willie Kahne's car, which I like to find photos of, as Willie is always doing some interesting things with his race cars. There's always kind of little details you can kind of notice. And if you remember back to last year, we did a little profile on this car when it appeared for the first time up in Washington with Day. In the night's main event, Kyle Larson and Justin Sanders led the field to green. Larson was pretty quickly away. He was trying to win his 7th sprint car race in a row, but that ultimately didn't happen. Late in the going, Larson got hemmed in behind lap traffic, and Sanders was able to put a move on him for the lead. It resulted, though, in Larson crashed down the backstretch and out of the race, and then Sanders went on to the victory. I'll leave it up to you to decide if it was a dirty move from Sanders, just a racing deal, or however you want to describe it. Afterwards, you could hear on the broadcast Sanders got an earful of boos from the crowd as he emerged from the car and didn't seem to be too apologetic for what happened, even taking a bow towards the grandstands. He said, quote, "When it's thrown on at me, it's, well, the thing is, you got two pedals every time I hear." Later on, there were lots of mixed reactions online from various competitors and fans. I also liked Day stirring the pot saying, quote, "I'd rather lose a race than win it that way." And remember, Day and Sanders had a run-in last week that resulted in Sanders crashed, a middle finger on the track afterwards, and then supposedly a dust-up in the pits post-race. With still a bunch of racing left to do on the West Coast, this Sanders-Day situation could be a story to watch. And I feel like that incident last week likely played a role in how Sanders raced Larson last night. But Larson's win streak stopped at 6 races. I guess if you want to only count 410 shows, then it's technically still alive. The last time I could find an instance of a driver winning 6 in a row, which obviously Larson had tied, that was Donnie Schatz in 2014. And the last 7 race win streak, I believe, was Sammy Swindell in 1997. That came from a Johnny Gibson message board post I found. Looking ahead to Thursday and Friday split field prelim nights for the Kubota High Limit Sprint Cars and the Gold Cup Race of Champions. Points on the line with the top 2 after each prelim night guaranteed into Saturday's dash. The next 40 in points are headed for Saturday heats, and then everybody behind that, I believe, in the non-qualifiers. At last check, I saw 68 cars entered for the event, so 34 on each prelim night. Saturday's main event pays $3,000 to start and $100,000 to win. Corey Day, your defending event winner, all 3 nights live over on Flow Racing. Elsewhere, the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars are in North Dakota Friday and Saturday. They're at River Cities Friday, Red River Valley Saturday. David Gravel well in control of the Outlaw Championship right now, but still quite a bit of racing left to do. In Indiana, you've got Smackdown at Kokomo starting tonight for the USAC National Sprint Cars. Big money on the line. Guys still chasing Logan Seavey in the title fight. Brady Bacon, the closest contender, with Daves and Pursley still with an outside shot, I think. In Kentucky, the Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series is at Lake Cumberland for $5,000 win Friday and $15,000 win Saturday. Sam Seawright and Ashton Winger trailing Brandon Overton for that championship. It's been pretty quiet for Overton lately. We'll see if he can get back in the win column. There's also plenty of other local and regional action, so make sure to stop by DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight all weekend to see your streaming options. Drop me a comment with your weekend racing plans, what tracks you're headed to, or what you'll be tuned into on streaming. We'll call it good right there for the Daily Show this week. I do have a backlog right now of slider issues to send out, so if you want in on those, head over to DIRTRACKR.com/theslider and sign up for free. Some new names contributing some fresh pieces here. Hope you guys have a great Thursday and a great weekend out there. We'll see you right back here on Sunday.